All right, you've seen how to create new blog posts, and you've seen how to save them as drafts, and of course how to apply formatting to your posts as well, albeit in a fundamental way. But let's talk about some of the different publishing options that we have available and some of the neat, interesting things that we can do in terms of arranging our publishing settings. So I'm still inside this preview tab inside Firefox. So what I'll do, of course, is I'll go ahead and close out of that guy. And of course, that takes me back to where you and I just were inside the admin backend of our blog. And just give me a moment. Once again, I'm just going to set things up so we can see things a little bit more clearly here. Of course, if you want, by the way, you can keep your kitchen sink toolbar turned on if you want. I think what I'll do, just for simplicity, is I'll go and hide the kitchen sink toolbar just by clicking on that kitchen sink icon. And I'm just going to move my dialog box, my web browser really, I should say, over just a bit because I want to show you this here. I'm just going to kind of cram things in here a little bit. I want to direct your attention to the top right of your screen, the publish area here. And let's talk about some of the different settings that we have here. So, of course, as you know already, we've saved our post as a draft at this point, so it's not a part of our live public blog just yet. Beside the status draft, go ahead and click on Edit. And that'll expand out your top right corner just a little bit. And we have two options here. We can set our status to draft, which it already is set to, or we can set it to pending review. So perhaps we're a guest blogger, a guest author on someone else's blog. Well, our post might need to be reviewed by the blog's administrator. So in that case, we could save it as a pending review post if we wanted to. Right? Now, I'm going to go back to draft, though, here. And what I'll do is I'll just click on cancel. And that'll collapse down that area there. Next up, what I'll do, beside visibility public, is once again, I'll click on edit. And that'll expand out that visibility area. Now, inside this area, we have some really interesting options. First of all, stick this post to the front page. In other words, when someone goes to your live public blog, rather than seeing your full blog loop, which we discussed earlier, they would see this current post. And then they could navigate deeper into your blog if they wanted to. Now that's kind of an interesting option, and that gets into sort of the customization aspects of your blog there. You can try that out if you want. I'm not going to bother doing it here. And then we have another option here, password protected. In other words, what we can do is we can set it up so that our post is not available to the general public, only to those that have the password to be able to get into the post, right? Kind of a neat option, kind of a neat idea. We'll talk about setting up password protected posts in just a little while, so something to keep in mind. And then below that we have private. If we want, we can set up this particular post to be a private post, again, a post that's not available to the general public. Once again though here, I'm going to go back to public, back to where we were, and I'll go and cancel this out. I'm more making you aware of these options at this point. So right now, our post is set to publish immediately. I'll click on edit beside that, and we're given a month and date and year and time fields or drop-down menus, as the case may be. So what we can do here, this is very cool stuff, is, I alluded to this earlier, what you could do if you wanted to is you could set it up in such a way so that maybe on the Monday you set up all of your posts for the coming week, and then all you do is set the particular date and the time that you want all of your posts to actually go live onto your blog. It's a bit of an automation setup, right? So in other words, you write, say, 3 or 4 posts, and then you come in here and you decide exactly when you want those posts to go live onto your blog. Very cool stuff, especially if you have a pretty busy schedule. Okay, so I'll let you mess around with those settings. Again, I'll just click cancel here. All right, a few other things that I want to talk about here. I'm just going to scroll down here. I'm going to keep your attention, though, on the right-hand side of your screen. We can trash this particular post if we want to. We can get rid of it. We can delete it. Below that, we have something called post tags, and I'm not going to get into post tags just yet. Again, we'll get into that in just a little while. And the same holds true for categories as well. We'll talk about categories categories in just a little while. Suffice it to say that categories allow you to organize all of your posts underneath headings. You could think of it that way anyway. So that's the idea here. All right, I think that pretty much wraps it up. At the very bottom of the screen, you'll see all of your post revisions, and you can actually rewind the clock if you want. You can go back to previous versions of your post if you wish. You can compare different versions of your post and so on. And of course, don't forget our discussion options. Allow comments and allow those things called trackbacks and pingbacks.